Hi there. Now that we've downloaded our shapefile data and our tabular census data, we can take a look at it and begin our pre-processing steps. You can see here the CB 2018-24 tracked 500K files. These are all our geospatial data, our shapefile data. This is saying it's from 2018, code 24, which is the state code for Maryland, and it's census tract data. Now, the data that we see up here, these are census tabular files, and we can see they are from the American Community Survey, 5-year data from 2018, and survey number S1601. We also see the date that we downloaded that data along with the time, the code at the end here. So it produces a unique code. So even if you download the same thing multiple times, it'll have a different name every time you download it. Now, we get 3 files when we download census data. This one is a text document, just sort of README instructions on what to do. This metadata file is a long-form description of all of the different columns of data that exist within our full file here. And you can see when we look at the size, this full file is much bigger than this metadata file. Let's open up this metadata file really quick. So this is a little terrifying here, but what we see here is we have column names here and descriptions of the column names over on in the second column here. So we can see column 3, S1601C01-001E, is an estimate of the total population 5 years and over. If we go down to column 5 here, we can see this is an estimate of the total population 5 years and over that speak only English. So we're going to take a look at just these two columns, which means that we're going to be able to delete all of this other information from our table. You can see there's a ton of information here, right? So like this is the estimate of the population 5 years and over who speak a language other than English, who are 18 to 64 years old and speak Asian Pacific Island languages. The list goes on and on and on. There are about 300 columns in this data set, which is an overwhelming amount of information. I'm going to close this. I don't really care about saving that. So I'm going to open up the data itself. Now, these data sheets can be kind of overwhelming, but it's really important that we format them in a very exact way, or else we're not going to be able to join this data to our geospatial data. Now, as remember from that metadata table, we want to make sure we're keeping the estimate of the total population 5 years old and over, which is column C. And then the second item we were interested in was estimate of those who speak English only or speak English very well, which is this column right here. These intermediate columns, this is a margin of error column, this is a percent estimate, and this is a margin of error column as well. We don't need those ones. We really just need G and C. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight D, E, and F. We're going to delete those columns. We now have all the data we need right here in columns C and D. Now I need to delete the rest of the data in here. So I'm going to highlight column E, and I'm going to hold down Control, Shift, and the right arrow key. On Mac, it would be Command, Shift, and right arrow key. That's going to highlight every remaining column, 200 and some remaining. I'm going to right-click on that. I'm going to click Delete. I'm now going to change this. This is total pop, and I'm going to call this long for percent of the number of the total population that speaks only English. This is really important here. I'm highlighting row 2, right-clicking, and clicking Delete. I also don't really need this description. This is sort of a long-form description of each of the census tracts. I'm just going to get rid of that too. So what I'm going to be left with is this first column, which is a unique ID for this census tract. So this will be able to link up with the same column that exists within our shapefile so that we can bring this data into our shapefile. And then I have total population within that census tract and total population 5 years and older who only speak English. So the difference between these two would be the percent of the number of people who speak a language other than English. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click File, Save As. I'm going to save this in my Maryland folder, and I'm going to call this MD tract thing. I'm going to make sure I'm saving it as a CSV file. I'm going to click Save. All right, that's that. On to the next video.